Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
He's alive!
Welcome to Where the Weird Ones Are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with a woman named Jensen. She's actually really fun to talk to and a lovely person. Adorable personality. I absolutely loved conversating with her. I hope to do it again on a future episode, or because it doesn't really matter as long as I'm conversating with her. She's a I have to say, man, she's a bright light. I will say she can change the mood of a room. I can tell that just through, even though we talk through a screen, like that's just her type of personality, and it's infectious. And I don't know. I really enjoyed talking to her, and I adore her and her personality very fucking much. And I think you guys should go check out her podcast. It's called "It's an Odd World After All." She tells stories that she gets from viewers, listeners, um, and from Reddit and stuff like that. She tells them really well, and I really enjoy listening to her podcast, and I think you will too. And I know I say that about everybody, but I really believe everything that I fucking say, or else I wouldn't fucking say it. So, with that, we talk about some odd experiences that she's had, and we talk about some theories, some thoughts, opinions, skepticisms. You know, it's a good episode. You'll really enjoy it, I think. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoy today's episode, and I hope you check out Jensen's uh, podcast, because I mean, if you like creepy fucking stories, you're gonna like her podcast. I promise you that. And she's been doing it for a while, so yeah. So like, follow, share, subscribe. Do all that shit, rating and review. I would love that. I would absolutely love if you left a rating and review. It would help out a lot. And I'll read them. If it's a review, I'll read them on the show. So, what else? If I have a Conspiracy Tuesday coming out next week, Patreon exclusive. It's only on Patreon. We get into CERN and the Mandela effect. I apologize. I almost just like burped or hiccuped it or something. But anyways, so if you're not a Patreon member, obviously you can't listen to the new Conspiracy Tuesday, but I will share clips and a preview. So I mean, I feel weird about making you guys pay to listen to me talk with other people, or me to talk specifically, but I mean, it would help me out, quite a bit. I think I fucking drank too much. Shit. Anyways, so website, if you want some merch, it's www where the weird ones are podcast.com. You can get to the merch store. You can see people who are wearing the merch. You can, that's where the chat room is, but you have to be a Patreon member to get the password to the chat room. There's the blog on there. You know, eventually the hot sauce was going to be sold on there. So, if you don't know, I'm making my own hot sauce. I've been making my own hot sauce for fucking forever now. And I don't know, I decided that I would just, start as a little side hustle, and the first time that the hot sauce will be available will be April 13th at Encounter Quest in Hamlet, North Carolina. So if you're in the area of Hamlet, North Carolina, you should come check out Encounter Quest. You should buy a ticket and come check out all the people that are vending and all the people that are speaking. Because there's a lot of amazing people that are putting in work on this, and you will have a wonderful time. I trust me. The people that you meet at conventions and shit like that, they're the fucking nicest people that you'll ever meet in your life. I promise you that. Um, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So if you are in the area and you want some hot sauce, come check out my hot sauce. I will have a bottle for like a taste test or whatever you want to fucking call it. So you can try it before you buy it. All right. I'll have stickers, I'll have t-shirts and shit like that. Also, I will be at 40 and Fest on June 8th right here in Sanford, Maine at the Memorial Gym. So if you haven't checked that out, you should come check us out then as well if you're in the area of Sanford, Maine. Other than that, like I said, like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating or review. I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, you can also leave a rating and a motherfucking review on the website. So I appreciate you all for being here, for listening, and or watching, whichever that you have decided to do. Dude, it means the world to me that you are here. I promise. If you are struggling with the cage inside, please know that I have been there. I am there constantly. So if you need somebody to talk to, please reach out to me at where_the_weird_ones_are on Instagram, where_the_weird_ones_are gmail.com. Also, if you want to be featured on the show, where_the_weird_ones_are at gmail.com is also a good way to hit me up to be on the show and talk about your experiences, your research, your book, whatever you got that's fucking weird. We'll dig into it. So, question everything and stay weird.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Weird. Get weird.
Up, party people. Welcome to another episode. Yay! There's so many episodes now. I don't know what number this is going to be yet, but it's going to be probably in the 90s at this point. But I am here with Jensen. She is the host of It's an Odd World After All, and I'm so happy to have her here. How are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. Um, First of all, I want everybody to know, if you don't listen to her podcast, you probably should. She tells stories really well. So like she actually, you seem like you read it and then you figure out like how to influctuate your voice in certain parts. And oh my God, I enjoy it a lot, and I appreciate you for doing it. So, my first question for you basically is, what was the thought process behind starting your podcast?
Okay, so actually, my podcast, really, I've been doing this for about 5 years now, but I really started this by myself 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I wanted to create something where it was just really storytelling, because since I'm doing it by myself, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, like reading a story and, you know, having no like banter back and forth. So I wanted to create something with, I don't know, spooky stories, because I love that. I love paranormal stories. And I like storytelling, and I thought, shoot, why not? That's right up my alley. And I get to read all these wonderful horror paranormal stories, and it's great, honestly. It's great. So I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. So David from Down the Rabbit Hole is who basically turned me on to your podcast. Like when he had you come into the group or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
you did a 6 questions. Did you do a 6 questions?
I did. I
Yes. Yes.
did.
Okay. Yeah. And I was just like, and I think we were already following each other at that point too. And
Hmm.
then once you were in there, it was just like, well, if David likes her, then I'm gonna like her, so I gotta check her stuff out. And that's basically how I started listening to your podcast, and now I listen to it all the time. Other than what last week's, which we both just found out that I had just the realization of, but as we were talking, but yeah, I what's the like the story behind doing like the Chinese what's it, the
The Chinese
astrology
zodiac.
or zodiac, yeah, the Chinese zodiac stuff, like where'd that, like what made you like start doing that?
So, okay. So really, I wanted to do just like a little segment, just kind of before, because I read two horror stories. And then like I give my opinion on them and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to do something kind of before that was just like a little different, kind of like a little information. So I've done paranormal equipment, like a paranormal equipment lesson, and I'll read like what a EMF meter is, things like that. Um I do birthdays. I'll read like I actually have a birthday book, and I read the birthday that's the date that the podcast comes out. I'll read that day, and you get to hear about what this person is and what they are all about, whatever.
Yeah.
I do the astrology signs, all the zodiacs, like, of course, like Gemini, Aquarius, all those, like, I do those. But then I wanted to do something different. I'm like, oh, the Chinese zodiac. Like, that's a fun one. Like, let's do that. So I wanted to mix it up. And so I'm doing that now too. Oh, and I do mythical creatures. That's something else that I've been thrown in there too. I just
Yeah.
really wanted to do something that was fun, a little different, and just kind of put a little knowledge at the front. I don't know, because I just wanted to do that. I really just wanted to mix it up and just do it. So
Well,
that's why I did it.
yeah, well, it's fun. It's fun to listen to that stuff too. I mean, me personally, I enjoy it, but I so do you have any knowledge on the dragon zodiac of the Chinese zodiac?
So that one is this year. It's going to be the Chinese New Year. This year is going to be the dragon.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so I plan on doing that one next month. So I'll get into that one next month.
All right. Well, I look forward to it because I was born under the dragon zodiac.
So you are a dragon.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, well that's fun.
Oh, you want to know what? That just synchronicity. That just made me realize. Emily, the fine art medium, she gave me a past
Mhm.
life regression, and she told me that the first life that she had for me was a dragon.
Oh, shut up.
A fucking light bulb, dude. This whole time, like when she first told me that, I was just like, "What? That's weird." And I was like, was it like a crest or something? Like, did I have like a shield that had a dragon on it? Did I have like, like some kind of like crest on my chest? And she's like, no, it was an actual dragon. And you were so angry, and that was like the lesson in that life where you were supposed to learn like to let go of anger and stuff, and you didn't learn that.
Oh my
And I was just
god.
like, huh. Because I learned how
And
to control my anger a lot better in this life currently. I had a
mm-hmm,
hard time, obviously. Everybody listening that
mm-hmm,
has listened since the beginning knows a lot about my life at this point. And I struggled with anger as through my teenage years and stuff because I didn't have anybody to base my like emotional intelligence off of. Like all the adults in my life, they were just so quick to anger, so that's what I did, you know what I mean?
of
And
course.
like I like to say that I wasn't disciplined, I was reprimanded, I guess. Basically, like I was just like, don't do that, instead of don't do that, and this is why you don't do that,
Mm-hmm,
kind of thing. So
mm-hmm.
wow. I can't even believe I never even realized it because I knew I've always known that the year of '88 was the dragon. I've always known that every time we went out to the when I was a kid anyway. I don't know if they still do this, but when we went out to Chinese restaurants, they had that little like
And they have
placemat.
uh-huh
Yeah.
with the yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I honestly that's probably why I thought of the Chinese zodiac, because I'm like, every time we would go when I was a kid, it's you have that on the table and you're like really interested in it and you're reading all the years and you're like, what's your mom? What's your dad? What are you? Like, I don't know, maybe that's kind of why I'm into it, but either way, I'm into it and I like it. So,
Yeah.
but that's wild though. That's wild that your past life thing with the dragon and you're a dragon in this life. So it's like you're kind of bringing it over without bringing it all the way over.
Right. Exactly. That's crazy. I'm so blown away that I never even thought of it. Damn. Brain sometimes. It it
I feel that.
it's it's weird. But so quick question.
Mm,
If you can,
okay.
because a lot of people can't answer this question like definitively, um, or maybe just give me like a top three or something. Like, what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh God. Okay, favorite horror movie. It's changed quite a bit since I've gotten older because my tolerance for gore has really gone down, and I don't know why because I used to love the really gory movies.
Yeah.
Um, top three. Don't really have a top three, so I'll just give you like the one that I like the most. It's Poltergeist, like the original Poltergeist. I watched that
Yeah,
one a
that's a good
lot
one.
growing up, and so I don't know. I mean, all the alien movies, like Signs and The Fourth Kind, those scared the shit out of me as a kid. So I can't really say any of the alien ones are going to make the list, but I would say Poltergeist. And I mean, it's also paranormal. So, hello. Like, duh.
Yeah. Yeah. They're coming.
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
Oh man, I love that movie too. That movie scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Um, and then
Like the part.
the fourth kind scared I think the fourth kind came out when I was a young adult. I think it was right after high school, and I was just like, holy shit, this is scary too. Because
Mhm.
they had that footage at the end, like the
Yeah.
real footage, the supposed real footage. And I was like, holy fuck, this is
Uh,
crazy.
it probably like kind of instilled the fear that I should say I had of aliens, because as I've really the past couple of years, I've kind of gotten over that.
Uh-huh.
But I have been terrified of aliens like my whole life. And I think it's only because like I believe that they're out there, like we can't be the only things here. But
Yeah.
I think that's what terrified me, But either way.
I mean, it makes sense to me, you know?
Right?
So since you do believe in aliens, what do you think
Mhm.
about like the flat Earth theory?
Okay. So for a while there, really just for like a hot second, I kind of believed in that theory. Just for like a hot second.
Okay.
Um, but I really don't believe it anymore because like I don't know. But the reason why I believed it for just a hot second is because I watched this podcast like a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh, I can see how like 1 + 1 = 2, like, you know, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I can understand that. But I don't know. I've personally like gone and traveled, and so like I don't know, like flying across and you're watching the plane go, you like it makes I don't know. That's kind of stupid, but like I don't know. I don't believe it anymore. Let's just put it that way, okay? Like just for a hot understand why people believe that. And like to each their own. I'm not here to judge anybody, but I personally am not a believer.
Okay. All right. I
But what
just
are your thoughts on it?
so I not 100% in belief. I do think that there's something going on, and I do
Mm,
believe that all the images that we have of the Earth being a sphere are fake. Like I don't
okay.
think that we're actually like the International Space Station. I don't think it's actually in space. Like I do believe that there is space. There is something out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think we've ever been there.
And I don't think, well, I won't go that far. I will say though that I don't believe that we actually landed on the moon. Like that one
Yeah,
is
no,
easy to not believe. Like,
yeah.
but other than that, like I guess I just don't know what to fully believe because there's so much information on both sides of the spectrum that it's just kind of like, you know, like I'm open to hearing things. Like I'm
Yeah.
never closed off like, oh no, that's stupid. Like I don't want to hear that, but I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'm you know.
it's my favorite conspiracy just because it's interesting, you know, like the stories
Yeah.
to that go with the flat earth side are intriguing to me, like the Admiral Byrd stories and the
Mm,
you know, the fake moon landing and just all these things that, you know, um and then like the space station is underwater. Like it's interesting because like a lot of the pictures from the International Space Station, like there was just one that I saw the other day where they're all like floating and there's someone sideways and somebody upside down because there's zero gravity in there, but all the food is stationary on the table. Like I just thought that was weird.
hmm. I mean, I guess I've never really thought about like that. I mean, as maybe like I mean, they are in space, and in theory, if there is no gravity, maybe we've like adapted to where like I don't know, maybe they put like magnets underneath the food to like keep it on the. I don't know. Like I have no idea. Like I feel like I've seen clips now before of like people like pasta floating through the air and they're like eating it like that. I could just be pulling this out of my ass. I don't know, but I feel like I remember seeing something like that before, but I don't know. When you say things like that, then it just makes your wheels turn a little bit, and you know,
Yeah.
I'm always here for it. I'm like, tell me what you think is going on, because that gets me thinking. You know.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I like it so much is because it makes me think about things even more, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I mean, I do believe that, you know, there's still you know, a chance that the earth is a sphere, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time we see the same constellations every night. So like to be going around the moon, like I get the stars are thousands of miles away, but
Yeah,
to be on one side of the sun versus the other and we still see the same constellation. Granted, they're a little different,
a little
you
different.
know. North Star is usually pretty much in the same spot.
True. How would you explain? I guess then all the when you see certain planets, like you'll see Mars one night, or you'll see whatever the next night, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
You know, all the nights that they say that you can see the other planets, I've never been able to see them.
really?
Yeah, like what do they look like? Like how do they look to you?
They're they're literally just like little dots in the sky, you know, but like Mars has always looked like, to me, I guess, like a little red. I don't know, but
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. The older I get, I can't freaking see anymore, so I couldn't tell you if I'm actually seeing what I'm seeing. But you know, when I was younger, sure, yeah, I saw Mars.
I think, well, I did. There was a time recently where they said that you could see Mars, and I was pretty sure that I saw like a star that seemed a little reddish.
Yeah,
But
it's a little brighter, little redder.
yeah. But
But
if you are like conspiratorial and you're believing aliens, that
mhm,
redness could be a UFO.
could
And
be
they're just be like, hey man, you're gonna be able to see this planet tonight because there might be a chance that you're gonna see like this red fucking ball in the fucking sky. You know what I mean?
true. True. I mean, if you really wanted to go down conspiracy lane, my God, my brain can travel. We could pretend that we're like, oh, what's that one show where they're like filming? Oh shit, what's it called? Ah, what's it called? And it's
I
like
don't
not
know.
set, and it's not real. Like this guy keeps living, and it's just a set. Is it the morning show?
I don't know.
Okay, well, if you
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
no, it's okay. Whoever knows what that movie is, they know what I'm talking about. But you could just like go with that theory and be like, well, maybe they're just turning a light on, and we're just in this big old simulation. And so when they say we see things at night, maybe it's just them flipping on different lights. Like that's crazy, but like,
Yeah, are
but
you talking about the Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
thank you, the Truman Show.
Ah, okay,
You know,
I got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, because they say a rainbow is a bow, like, you know, because we're like technically in a glass,
but
like a glass cup. You know what I mean? So like if you look at how the sun hits your window or whatever, you can see a rainbow on the floor
yeah,
through the glass, right?
right.
And it kind of is a bow.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
E- yeah, or I guess maybe not that we're in a cup, but we're covered with glass, I guess technically.
Like a dome, more
Yeah,
or
like
less.
a yeah, dome, yeah.
So
Like have you ever seen that show though? The Dome?
yes, yeah,
Yeah. I
but yes.
that was fucking interesting.
Uh huh.
Um it's things like that that I'm just like, you know what? What if that's real?
I
You
mean,
know?
really, if you really keep going down conspiracy theory lane, it's like the shows that you watch. Is there some truth behind it? You know, or
Yeah,
is it really just somebody who's really creative? Because like that can easily be a thing too. You know, like I'm not going to knock people's
absolutely.
creativity. You know, but I don't know. It's just fun to think about things, and you know,
Yeah. Yeah, like symbolism, the symbolism in movies, like they basically have to tell you what they're doing before they do it because they need um what's the word? They need your permission, but without you knowing it or whatever. Like they some for some reason they need to show you
like
so
like the subliminal like subliminal messaging type of thing.
yeah, yeah.
I,
Like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But have you seen the movie Leave the World Behind? Because there's a lot of symbolism in that.
I don't think so. It's not ringing a
All
bell.
right. Well, it just came out has with Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke.
Okay, then no, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, I won't give too much away just in case you decide to watch it, but the movie was released on I think it was like no end of October, November, or something like that. And Friends is a prominent the show Friends is prominent in the movie. The little
Okay.
girl always watching Friends, and I think it's weird that Matthew Perry died on Julia Roberts' birthday, which was October 28th. And then, Friends is all through this movie because Julia Roberts hasn't been in a movie in like a few years. And then this oil rig um crashes into the beach, right? And which is in the preview, so I'm not really giving anything away.
Mhm.
And the name on the ship is White Lion, which White Lion was a ship that was on it was an English ship in under the rule of the Dutch Marquis that brought the first African slaves over to the colonies here in the US. So I
Hmm.
thought that was pretty interesting that they threw it in there cuz then they had this kind of like weird I don't trust you kind of thing with these with a father and daughter who happened to be black and then their family was white. Like there was just like this like little back and forth there, which kind of like made me feel weird. And then the daughter brought something up about them being white. And I was just like, why do they always got to put this shit in movies?
Yeah,
Like, why
that's really
can't you just have a regular movie with regular problems? Why do we got to always bring race into everything?
yeah, that's like a whole other subject because I'm just like, can't we just like live?
Yeah.
Just live now and just I don't know.
Like at this
Because
point, we understand that like we have differences, like we
yeah,
look different, like, but
right.
that's about it. On the inside,
But
we're all the same. We're built the
yeah,
same.
right. I mean, it's just literally the color of our skin. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's the color of our skin. But yeah, no. So there was some interesting factors. I actually made a video about the movie, right?
mm,
And I threw in this woman. Her name's Jillian Stone. There's this drone that drops off like these red letters, and it's written in Arabic.
okay.
And she had it translated or somebody had it translated in AI, and it gives this like freaky message, right? And then Google Translate has said something different, and I guess the director is like really techie and really into like the artificial intelligence and stuff like that, and she thinks that there's a possibility that he was putting a secret message in there for AI to pick up on.
Oh,
Obviously not substantiated, it's not like
of course.
definitive and factual, you know what I mean? It's just a
Of course.
theory. And so I made a video of it and I included her video of going through it,
Mm,
and TikTok took it down,
hmm.
saying that it wasn't based in fact or something like that. So I made an appeal, right? And I was like, "Hey,
Mhm.
look, a lot of this is just opinionated
Yeah.
and not really based on fact, other than the fact that I talked about the White Lion. That was factual. The movie was factual. Matthew Perry's death was factual.
Right.
Um, but like the theories around the movie and what she was saying were just theories and opinions, and that's what basically I said. And then they gave me the video back, but it's monetized and only 13 people have seen it. But the majority of my videos are like 200 to 300 people.
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, that's really. I mean, do you think though, like, just like out of curiosity, do you think that maybe someone is out there too, not just like TikTok taking it down, just kind of being, I don't know, an asshole and clicking on your thing and going, "Hey, this isn't factual," because you know you can do that to people's things, like report them,
Yep.
report. what I'm looking for. Like,
That's a possibility.
I highly doubt it, but like, because it's just too odd of a coincidence that one got, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, that one out of all of the weird stuff that I talk about.
it's not unlikely.
Yeah. Uh, so YouTube too has taken down one of my episodes so far,
Hmm.
which was not a conspiracy episode either. It was which was very weird, but we do talk about the chip chap thing, that they were trying to force everybody to take, and she was just reciting an article that she read because we were talking about chakras and stuff and about how like drugs and stuff throw off your chakras. And she was just like, so I read in this article that this, and this. And then everything that she said in that point, YouTube was like, no, 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 no. Then they highlighted it and they're like, hey. And I always was told that YouTube only watches like the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of your video. But my videos are like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. So they gotta like go through it.
So that, like, they would have really had to go through it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because it was like in the middle of that episode too.
Hey, Paranormies, I'm Brittany.
And I'm Alexa.
And we're the hosts of They Don't Stay Dead.
We're a paranormal podcast from Australia, and we've made it our mission to share with you all the real-life ghost stories and haunted locations from our home, as well as encounters with supernatural beings and reports of unknown mysteries.
From haunted asylums and ghost ships to big cat cryptids and alien encounters, there's something for everyone. We release new episodes every Thursday, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Be sure to check out our Instagram at They Don't Stay Dead for weekly updates. We get a little bit spooky and a lot silly. So join us for some laughs and a tale of the unknown.
Stay spooky, Paranormies.
Interesting. Okay, that one's a little more weird.
Yeah.
That's a little more weird.
Yeah. So, and then they gave me the community guidelines when they took it down and stuff to tell me what I can and what I can't talk about. And I couldn't talk about the election between Trump and Biden. You can't talk about that on YouTube, and you can't talk about the jib jab.
Interesting. I mean, it's good to know, but I also wonder too if it's just because people have like really, I mean, obviously the election and obviously that, I mean, people have really strong opinions towards each. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they're just trying to, I don't know, stop fights. I doubt it. I always try to look at the bright side of things and like figure out like why they're doing certain things. But I got nothing. I was trying.
Yeah.
I was really reaching.
No, yeah, I know. I kind of get what you're saying, but I think it's weird how like these social media platforms will quickly take down like somebody who's on the right, but somebody who's on the left who's saying outlandish shit does not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like obviously we all know that like most of the social media sites are very liberal, and being liberal is not a bad thing. I mean, I if I had to identify myself, I'd be conservative, but I'm not a Republican, and that's what I like to say, because I don't trust the fucking government at all. You know what I mean?
Me personally, I'm not for really either side because I'm just kind of like, it all kind of sucks. It all kind of really,
You're
it
not
really
wrong.
over here sometimes. So, I mean, our choices aren't always the greatest. So,
Yeah.
what are we to do?
Yeah, I've been saying too for like the past like 3 years, like we should just fire all of them and start over.
Yeah. I feel like that's how most people feel nowadays. It's just like, can we just start back over? Because I know there are good people out there. I really do.
Right.
I can't sit here and say, oh, the whole US sucks. Like, I'm not for that. Like, I'm not here for that. But like, obviously there are shady people. doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and it's just time to start over. Just time to start fresh, start over, and get some new fresh bodies in there, ones that aren't so close to the grave, and start over.
So, one question that I really wanted to ask you since I asked you to come on was what
Mhm.
was it like um being a character in Supernatural?
Oh.
Because
Well, you
that's the only name that I know that of somebody named Jensen. So like you're the second person I've ever heard of being named Jensen. So
I mean, it was pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. Gotta, get a lot of paranormal things and kill a lot of ghosts and, all the things. It was pretty fun. But no, okay. So kind of sidebarring off of that, my mom actually, it's a lot less. It's not as interesting as that. She actually named me after a soap opera star. Her name was Jensen, and so
oh,
that's my mom was
nice.
real operas, so whatever.
I remember my mom watching soaps too, and she's just like, I gotta watch my program. I gotta watch my program.
Uh,
Couldn't make any noise in the living room when she's watching it. Couldn't ask her any questions, or else
yep.
she'd get so mad. Like she was a very angry person anyway, but like she we'd get so mad if her soaps were on and we were bothering her.
Oh yeah. My mom would when taping became a thing, she would tape hers and then watch it on her own free time, and if she needed to pause it, that's when she would pause it. But before that, oh yeah, you can forget it. Like just don't talk to her. Like
Oh man, that's funny. So since this is, paranormally based and yep, I fucking knew it. Fucking this goddamn ring light. I'm gonna fucking throw it in the trash. It's like giving me less and less time with it freaking being on and it's starting to stress me out. But
so
so yeah. So since this is a paranormal podcast, have you ever
Mhm.
yourself experienced anything paranormal?
Yes, I have. Honestly, a lot. Let's see. I don't know. I could start from the beginning or I could start with
Yeah,
I'll
let's
just
do
say
that.
random things.
Okay. However
I'll,
you
I'll
want to do it's fine.
and then I'll do just like some random things. So really kind of where it started from was my mom. My mom, we were she's in the same house that she's been in this whole time that all the paranormal stuff has happened in. It was a new house when we got it. Which I know it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean
No.
anything. So one night she woke up to my sister waking her up. Okay. So she saw my sister. My sister was probably 3 at the time. So she was like shaking her, like, hey, whatever. And my mom's like, what do you want? And there was no answer. So she shakes her again. And mom's like, what do you want? And so she walks around the bed and walks out the door. And my mom's like what the hell is going on? Can you go check on your, to my dad, can you go check on your daughter, like, see what she wants? Well, first of all, their bedroom door was shut. My sister's door was shut, and she was asleep. So it wasn't my sister. Whatever was waking her up is the is the gist of the story. But my mom full on saw this little girl walk around the bed and go out the door. And that's kind of really where it all started from, because my mom can't remember any paranormal experiences happening before that. And so it's like when that happened to her, then it all started happening to us. So for me personally, let's see, I've seen a dog run under my bed. And I full on thought there was a dog that was there because I had a dog at the time. And
Yeah.
I saw it run under my bed and I was like, hey, come on, like, let's go. It wasn't there. Wasn't there. I have lived in every single room of that house. So in the back bedroom, I didn't really have a lot of experiences there. That's where I saw the dog. The middle bedroom, that's just a creepy room in itself. I was sitting downstairs with one of my friends, and I still had my dog, and she brought her dog over. And so downstairs, the living room is directly under this middle bedroom. And we're sitting there. Our dogs were kind of fighting, so I took him upstairs to the middle bedroom where his kennel was, and I was like, we'll just separate them for now. No big deal. We're sitting down there, and I hear him start to act up, and then I heard a growl that was not his. And I ran upstairs, grabbed him, and came back down. And I was like, I am so sorry. I don't know what was in there with you, but we're not, nope, not doing that. So then when I was downstairs in the downstairs bedroom, so when you walk out of the bedroom, there's a wall, and then you have to like maneuver down this like hallway, okay, for kind of like a visual. And there were chairs that were on the edge of this wall. I walk past the wall. There's a full like figure just standing there. This is the middle of the night. I had gotten up because I needed some water. Well, I walk past this wall, see this figure. It has a really big head too. That's all I remember is this figure was standing there in between the chairs with this really big head, but I did not care. I went upstairs, got my water, came back downstairs, laid in bed, and then I freaked out because I was like, oh, I really saw that. Like, that was there. So, there's all kinds of things. I've heard walking in the house, talking in the house. Oh, my dad, we were sitting on the couch. This was kind of recent. We were sitting on the couch having a conversation, and I kept talking louder. I just realized I was talking louder. Well, because I was hearing footsteps, like, walk behind us, like, just... And so, in my mind, I'm thinking... I don't know. I'm thinking somebody's there. So I'm just talking over them because they're being so loud. Honestly, I was like, God, you're being kind of rude. And then I realized it was just my dad and I. So don't know where those footsteps came from. And he heard them too. So, there's that.
Did
My
he
mom.
So what did he say about them when you heard the footsteps? What did he be like? Did you hear that? Like, or
So my dad is more of the non-believer of the house. He's had his own experiences, but he always tries to brush them off. But I've seen his face a
one of
couple
them?
times, and I'm like, you actually saw something. Like, you really saw that. So yeah, he didn't really say anything, but I said, did you hear that? And he was like, I mean, yeah, but like, okay, cool, thanks.
I
Like,
mean,
whatever.
yeah, but
But my mom, she's like me, and like, as much as we're believer, we're skeptics too, so we try to like debunk, whenever we
yeah,
can.
it's good to have a
What,
healthy skepticism.
yes, for sure. And um one time I was sitting in my mom's kitchen. It's kind of like an L. So like the cabinets come together like this. She's over here cooking, and I'm on the other side sitting on the cabinets talking to her, and she has a spoon in the L part, so it's like away from both of us, a spoon and a cup. And we're sitting there just chit-chatting. This spoon goes tink 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 tink, like back and forth in the cup. And we both just stop and we like look at each other. She's like, you saw that, right? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I did. So she tried to like pick it up and drop it in the cup to like see if, maybe that worked. We stomped around. I don't know. I could go on for days. I mean, there's more that has happened outside of the house. I've seen figures, heard voices, like you name it. It's happened. Oh, in this house, my house, I've had doors close, and that kind of happened a couple times after my son was born. And I thought that was kind of weird because I really haven't had much, if anything, happen in this house. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And it wasn't him because he was just a little baby, but I don't know. I've had stuff happen for days, honestly. So,
Could be his spirit guide
ooh, I didn't think
if you
about that.
if you believe in that stuff. Could be like
I
something that's attached to him.
I also kind of thought too that maybe because my husband's mom has passed away, I
Yeah.
thought maybe it's her maybe visiting. If you
Yeah.
believe in that, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. But none of the things that have ever happened to me, really they've never really bothered me. It's just kind of like a oh, well, except for the growl. That one freaked me out because I was like, I don't think
Yeah.
anything that's I don't think anything that's growling has like good intentions. So,
Uh,
you know, everything else is just kind of like we're kind of coexisting and they just happen to, do something. Have you seen the movie The Others with
oh
Nicole
my God,
Kidman?
yes. I love that movie. I love
I'll have
that
to put
movie.
thinking about it because that's a great one. And I reference that one so much
You
in my podcast
you
because
do.
honestly, it's a great first of all, it's a great movie. Second of all,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it really is how I see like how spirits are, like we're coexisting but like, you know.
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you something weird. My dog last night, I was recording. I was sitting right here recording. She was,
Mhm.
oh, she's not in here now, but she was laying in her bed right here at my feet. And we're in the middle of our conversation. And my studio door is open and my son's bedroom door is open, right?
Oh.
Um, and she just gets up and goes to the doorway of this room and stares into my son's room and just stands there. And I was just like, and then I stood up and I was like, in the name of Jesus, you are not welcome here. I was like, I don't know who you are, but if you're here to scare the shit out of me, get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Was your dog
Uh,
like was the hair on the back of the neck like up? Like
no,
oh,
it wasn't anything, but her tail wasn't wagging. Usually her tail's just wagging all constantly, but it was still, she was still, and she was sitting there, you
oh,
know, and her head was tilted like this, staring
so she's
into my son's room.
curious. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, that's
Yeah. And then I think it might have been my shadow from the light in here into his room, but
uh-huh.
like when I moved my hand, it looked like something moved in there, and then I kind of got scared a little bit.
I was gonna say, did your heart drop a little bit? Because
Yeah.
I myself jump quite a few times. Like, and then you just feel so silly. You're like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was telling the woman last night about it, and she's just like, that is so interesting that just happened."
That's crazy. Hmm. I wonder what's there.
There,
I mean,
well,
the first experience there or no?
I've had several. Actually, the room that my son's bedroom was my bedroom when we first moved in here
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know why, but when the three of us were when I bought this house and the three of us were trying to figure out what bedrooms we were gonna have, my sister, my daughter took the biggest room and because it was already pink, but
Perfect.
then we painted it purple. So,
Even
but
better.
then my son took this room, which is the smallest room for
Mhm.
whatever reason. I don't know why. I think it's because of my king size bed. Um, we didn't wasn't gonna fit in here and it fit in that room. So he was just like, yeah, whatever, you know. And he took this room. And my very first ever experience in this house was in that room on my bed. And I woke up. My dog is the one that saw whatever was there. And she
Okay.
just like, so I'm like, all right, I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, I'm
I've
like,
told it a few times on here, so people might be like, what the fuck? But
you've heard it before.
so
Remind me.
I was laying on my stomach. My head was, on my pillow like this, and my knee was up kind of like this, and my dog's head was on my thigh, like right here.
Hmm.
And she was looking towards the door, and I'm looking towards the wall. And well, I'm looking down at her at my knee, and I had just woken up, and she picks her head up and she stares at my door, and I'm just like staring at her, not thinking anything of it really. And then I feel this weight just come down on my bed, right next to my feet, like somebody had just sat down, and I was like, oh shit. And then I just got like this, she put her head down like she knew who it was, and then I got this sensation that it was my uncle who passed away a few years ago. So it was like it was a good experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
it's still scary. You're
it
like, hey,
was it was. It took me a
give
while before I even
me
got
that.
up. Yeah. And then there's shadow people in the hallway.
Ooh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like threatened by them or no?
No. No.
Okay. Okay.
Well, one of them has made me feel very scared randomly, but I don't think it was a shadow figure. I think it was something pretending to be a shadow figure.
Okay. Okay.
But I haven't seen anything. Nothing has scared me since. And I try to do like the cleansing stuff and whatever. But there was someone who watches on YouTube commented that sage actually doesn't cleanse your house, it opens portals.
Oh, okay. That's a new one. I mean, I've heard that sage doesn't necessarily cleanse. I've heard that before, but I haven't heard the portals thing before.
Yeah, I didn't either, so I
So
just I
do
think
that.
it's a him. His name, I think it's a him, but it's the name's Jesse, so it could be a woman, but the way that they're talking in the
Mm.
comments, it
Hmm.
feels male. So Jesse, I apologize if you're a woman, um but yeah, they said that they're native, and in their from their experience that sage opens is intended to open portals.
Ooh, isn't that kind of wild though? That like now I'm jumping just slightly down conspiracy hole, but like isn't that wild that like you always hear like ooh sage your house, ooh sage your house. Like are they trying to tell us to open up all these portals?
Maybe that's a possibility. You might be onto something actually.
Just saying.
Yeah, he said the more that you sage your house, the worse it's gonna get if
Ooh,
you're having a haunting.
ooh, that's crazy. I've heard like, and I could be wrong, but like Palo Santo, however you say it, like you're supposed to actually burn that instead.
Yeah.
But either way, I usually like personally like especially when I was at my mom's house. I don't know if it works, but it kind of worked for me. I just said, "Listen, you stay on your side, I'll stay on my side. Like we can coexist, but just don't be scaring me, you know? Like we're not doing that." And even here at my house, I've gotten a little more firm with whatever is here. I'm like, "Listen, you can't go into my bathrooms. Like you're not allowed in the bedrooms. You can be out in the living room. I don't care, but like these spaces are off limits because I can't do it."
Hello, my spooky friends. This is your host, John, from Dairyland Frights, the paranormal podcast that covers everything spooky, creepy, and mysterious in the Midwest.
This is actually John. I hope my spooky voice scared you. And in this podcast, we're going to have creepy guests and spooky tales and mysterious sightings of cryptids, UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. So tune in if you dare to be scared.
Don't want
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever like witnessed your son just like staring at something or talking
no,
to something?
not yet, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen because it
Kids
very
are
well could.
creepy. Kids are creepy.
Kids are very creepy. They are very, very creepy. I mean,
My friend, he lives in this old farmhouse and it was converted into a duplex. Um, and I was over there visiting a few years ago, and his son like loved me for some reason. I don't know whatever it did for this kid, but he just like I was his fucking dude, you know what I mean? We were homies and whatever. And he grabs me by the hand. He's like, come, come with me." Like he's like 3. And I'm like, okay. So we go upstairs. He brings me to his room. He starts showing me his toys. He'll pick up a toy. He'd be like, look. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, see. And he's like talking. He's like, we're having like conversations and stuff. And he'll put the toy down. He'll pick up another one. And then it was like, those, it has it's a circle with the different animals around. It has an arrow in the middle and it makes
and
the
you
animal
pull it.
noises.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
Yeah.
doing that and he's like, see, and he's looking at me. So if I look at the camera, it might give like the same. So he's like, so the camera's me. And he's
Okay.
like, he's looking at me and he's like, you see? And he's like, and I'm like, yep. And he goes, see? See?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
See? Like he's looking back and forth between two people. And I just kind of turned my head to the space that he was looking at. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, uh, is somebody here? And he goes, yeah. And then he puts his toy down and then he walks out. And I was like, ah!
No. No. I I I don't know what I would do if my son did that. Absolutely not. Um I mean, did you talk to your friend? Were you like, "Hey, is this normal?" Like,
Right after I go downstairs into their living room, right? And I'm telling them what just happened. And my
mhm.
buddy's laughing. And his wife goes, yeah, she goes, she looks at him and she goes, did you see Abigail? And I was like, what are you talking about right now? I think it was
Okay.
Abigail. It might have been some other like old person name, but not that Abigail. There's Abigails out there today, but you know what I mean.
I mean, at least it seems like maybe it's friendly, especially if the mom like knows about it.
Yeah,
Hopefully, God, I read a story once that like this mom, her one of her daughters saw something, and um this ghost ended up like I guess manipulating this little boy that was this girl's friend, like it was their neighbor or whatever, into like
yeah,
stabbing scissors into like it might have been the other way around, but either way there were scissors that were stabbed into one of the kids' hands. Um and like still this ghost like attached itself and they moved to another house and it was still there, and she finally was just like, all right, I've had enough, like you have to stop. And so she went and did some kind of cleansing or whatever, but I'm like, dude, kids are creepy and they're so vulnerable, and
mm,
anything could literally just like link up right there. My niece
yeah,
one time waved to somebody and said hi. They live elsewhere, so I FaceTime them a lot. And while we were on FaceTime, my sister looks at me, she goes, she just looked over and waved and said hi to something. I said, ooh, like, your house is creepy. And my sister hates anything to do with the paranormal. Like, she won't even listen to my podcast because she hates it so much. It's hilarious. But I'm like, that would happen to you. Like, your daughter would be the one who sees the spirits and does the things that you don't want happening. Like, sorry.
yeah. That's so my God, that's awesome. I love that. I love it when people that don't like it like experience the stuff. Those are my
Uh-huh.
favorite. Those are my favorite stories. Like, oh, I never believed in this until, or I hate being scared, but this happens.
Yep.
It, it's so much
It,
fun.
it's just so funny. And anytime that, because like my mom and I are like really into it, like I think it's fun. Like I like
Yeah.
figure like what's out there. Like I don't know. And I got a Ouija board within the last year,
Oh
and my
boy.
sister's like, "Ooh, you need to get that out of your house," because I got it. I got it from a thrift store too. So she's like, "You really need to get that out of your house." I said, "I I closed it. I closed it. It's okay. Like we're fine. Nothing's happened. I'm good."
And keep your crystals.
Okay.
Protection spells. Those are key. You know?
I'll have to look into those.
Yeah. I've thought about it, but I don't know. I've always been like, don't fuck with a Ouija board kind of person, you know what I mean? But I have, talked to paranormal investigators that actually use the Ouija board as a means to communicate and on their
Absolutely.
investigations and stuff. And they're like, look, all you gotta do is close it. And
Yeah.
intention is everything.
I'm like, please, just whatever you do. And I think honestly too, I think whether you're using a Ouija board or a electronic device of some sort, like whatever you want to use to communicate, if you're communicating with the other side, you should always say, okay, goodbye. Like, like we're done. You have to stay here. Don't come home with me. Like you're not allowed, like you have to stay here.
Yeah.
Anytime I investigate anywhere, I say that every single time because it's like in a way you're closing the Ouija board, but obviously you're not using one, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you always have to say bye. Stay here. I don't want you at my house. Like
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know. I feel like it's a good way to protect yourself.
they say the spirit box is the same thing as a Ouija board, which
I mean, it
the
makes
spirit
sense.
box, yeah, this for anybody listening that doesn't know, um, if you haven't listened to any past episodes, but the spirit box is basically like a radio that just through radio stations and you pick up voices through the
Hmm.
white noise. But yeah, though they say that those are like opening portals just like the Ouija board is, so you have to say goodbye.
Yeah. I mean it makes sense in my brain because like why would you I mean, obviously, close a Ouija board. You have a way to do that, but like when you don't have a way to do that, you have to like say, okay, like bye, we're done. Like this session's over. Whatever, stay here. Speaking of that reminds me. Speaking of spirit boxes, obviously, I have like a different name. It's not very common. We'll just put it that way. I actually had my name come through one time on a spirit box, and it's very clear. And my mom's in the background and she goes, "Did that just say your name?" And I said, "I think it did." So like I thought that was a pretty cool little catch because I was just like, like I don't have just like a name that you would hear every day. So like having my name come through, it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Well, I will say this too, because I've never been on investigation in any kind of paranormal investigation until this year. So my first one, I went the kids and I went on vacation in Miami, and I went out with 305 Paranormal. Um, yeah, and Black Smoke, and Joe Hunt's Ghost, and um, but yeah, no, I went out with them and I did an Estes. So not only was it my first time, it was my first time doing an Estes as well.
Yeah.
Mondo asked Spirit to touch me, like, oh, this is our friend Kevin. It's his first time. Can you make your presence known and touch him on the shoulder? And then it felt like, because I feel like if you watch the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore,
Yeah.
like he like exceeds his energy and he'll throw stuff because he's trying to figure out like you know how to like manipulate the real world. So sometimes I feel like they don't really know how hard or how light they're touching you, which is where you get
Mm.
scratches and stuff sometimes. But so he tells him to touch my shoulder and I feel like a squeezing on my shoulder to the point where I'm like constantly going like this. I'm like, oh man, something's fucking, and like my shoulder started hurting from it.
Hmm.
And I was just
That's
like, "Oh, wow." And then I got this high, and I already had this investigation with Phil. I don't know if you know Exploring with Phil.
oh
Um
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So he invited me out too, but going to Miami. It was like a week or two before I went to Miami, and I was like, oh, I'm going to Miami, and maybe the week after. So we set it up for the week after, and so I went down to Huckamuck Swamp, and we're using the spirit box again in the Bridgewater Triangle. You know what I mean? And Middleborough, Marlboro. I don't know, but it's the Huckamuck Swamp, and we're out there, and we're talking to whatever is in the swamp with us, and not only did my name come through, Penobscot came through, which is the tribe that I am a descendant of, and the tribe that I'm descendant of is here in Maine, and I'm in Massachusetts. So what Massachusetts radio is going to be? First of all, Penobscot's uncommon to just say on a radio station to begin with, let alone a
Yeah,
Massachusetts radio station.
that's okay. That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Still thinking about the fact that you got touched too. Like, I haven't been like touched by any ghosts, and I don't know if that's just because I'm just too afraid. So they're like, all right, well, we won't touch her. But like, I don't know, that whole like, that's wild. That's just
Yeah.
wild to me. That gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like,
Yeah, I've never been touched either until this instant. And
oh,
so not only it was my first ever investigation, it was my first Estes, and it was my first time ever being physically touched. Actually, you know what? No, that's a lie, because the mushroom people touched me. So that's not the first time I was touched.
wait, now I've never heard of that before.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you after we're done recording, because I've told this story a lot.
Okay,
But
that's fine.
also, I'll actually want to write it to you too, so you can tell it on your podcast.
Yes, do that.
I have a few stories that I feel like would be good stories for you to read on your podcast too.
Yeah,
And my
which I feel like
yeah, my sister has a good one too that I
will
think I
have her
might have her send to you.
because I'm here for it. That's what I do.
I should write you a story. Actually, how do you take it? Do you take it through your email?
Honestly, it really doesn't matter. Wherever, I mean, you could send it on Instagram. Really, I'm not really on Facebook, but if you send it there too, that's fine. I'll find it.
Uh-huh.
Email's totally fine. Any way you want to send it, I will get it. So
Perfect, because
really, I'm
I think
good with anything.
I kind of want to send you one to read with the Chinese New Year or something like that. When is
Yeah.
that episode?
So, okay, so Chinese New Year is actually on February 10th this year.
Okay.
So, thinking I'm going to do the episode, it's either going to be before or after. We're going to have to see. My, long story short, my life is about to get wild again. I feel like I kind of do like disappearing acts quite often, and then I'm like, hey, I'm back. Like, here I am.
You just did one not too long ago.
I did. The end of the last year was a little chaotic, very chaotic. And so this year I actually have a couple weeks where I might be flying to Italy. So
Ooh.
we'll see when that story comes out. It's not for a vacation. That's okay. That's actually where my sister lives right now, and but there's things that are going on that she kind of needs me for. So I'm either going to be there or I'm not. And we're just going to see if I can bust out an episode or not before I go. But either way, it's coming before or after the Chinese New Year. So, because I'm really excited to do that one. Because I really like dragons. And that's
Yeah.
like I have a little, I'm just going to show you real quick.
Okay.
I have a little dragon.
Awesome. Yeah, no, now that I know that it's the dragon that you're going to be covering for your New Year's, Chinese New Year's, I'm like, yeah, because I'm
You
a
have to
dragon.
do it. You have to do it.
All right, I'll give you one.
What you told me, that just, yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it is, right?
It is. Like, that just blew my mind, like, right in that moment, and we caught it on camera. My mind was just like, "Oof," right then
You're
and
like,
there. I was like, "Holy shit, connection." That's wild. That is so wild. But anyway, so here's another question that I like to ask everybody. Have you ever had an experience or encounter with something that you can describe or connect to? Because you might not know, like it could be otherworldly, but like to a cryptid of some kind.
That's a tough one. Um, unless the only thing that I could really think of, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what a dog running under my bed would be. If you want to say that that's a cryptid. But the only thing that was weird to me was that the shadow figure that I saw downstairs that had the really big head, because that was weird. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
cryptid necessarily, but that was weird. Because my mind went to like, really, it went to like, what if that was like an alien? But
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you told the story.
I mean, because it was there and then it was gone. Like, because I fully ignored it because I was thirsty. I'm like, sorry, priorities. But, um,
You gotta stay
but
hydrated.
I know, like, I have a big bottle of water. But anyhow, that's the thing that I can think of that could be potentially cryptid. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I
Well,
think
maybe you just
most of my
haven't had anything.
Probably not, because I think really most of my things are, it's really just been paranormal, like just
Yeah.
strictly like paranormal. But that is really the only one that I'm like, well, that's a weird ghost. If that's a ghost, like, why does it have a really big round head? Like, you
Hmm.
know, that
Maybe
was
it
the
was there
only
to
thing.
abduct your mom.
Oh my god, maybe, maybe because she's really into aliens. I'm not, but
That's what I'm saying.
well, it was in the wrong part of the house. Let me tell you, because
Oh,
I
okay.
was not. So,
So, have you seen like a UFO or anything like that other than like planets?
no, I actually haven't, but my mom and sister saw something odd, and they followed it for a minute. They said it was kind of like, it was silver, and it was just going over, and there was no noise at all. And like, I understand, like, when planes pass by, sometimes the noise doesn't come until after. I fully get that. But they said, yeah, no, there was no noise at all from this thing. Like, even when it passed by, it was gone. And they like fully were like, they stopped somewhere on the road because they were driving along, and they were like, what is that? So no, I have not had an alien experience of any kind, but my mom and sister did see something.
That's interesting. Oh
Yeah.
man. So, I'm gonna see if I can send it to you real quick, but um a gentleman that I've listened to his podcast for a while now, and he's fairly local to me. He's in New England. Um, and he put a video in his story of something in the sky. Um, shit. Let me see. Did he put it on his profile? I think it's only in his story. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to send it to you. I might be able to. Um, I just want to get your thoughts on it real quick.
Okay.
All right, I just sent it to you.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. So he saw this?
That's what I thought at first because it's in Vermont, which is where he is. So I was like, is this your video or did somebody send it to you? He's like, I found it on Reddit. He goes
Okay.
in on the Burlington page or whatever the page for Burlington, Vermont.
I love the fact that it says Dementor.
Yeah, I know, right? He was asking what people thought, and that was one of the what somebody said to him, to him for it. Which I mean, come on now.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's it looks like that. I mean, it looks like a freaking octopus in the sky, but
Right.
so okay, it looks. I'm just basing it off of the looks strictly of the video. To me, so it's obviously got to be cold out, would be my guess because there are no like leaves and stuff on the tree.
Yes.
So it's like cold out because my mind was like, oh, you know those festivals that they have like sometimes on beaches and stuff. I don't know. My cousin lives on a near a beach, and they always have festivals where they have like the giant kites. You know, they have big kites, and
Yes.
they have octopus kites. Like I know this, but like, who the hell's gonna fly an octopus kite in the middle of winter? Like,
Right. And the video is of somebody in their car, and they're driving along, and it's going along with the thing. I don't know if that video does a good representation for it because for some reason the other video that he had I can't see now.
it's interesting.
Right?
It's interesting. It kind of looks like a giant squid too.
Yeah, that's what yeah. Something. Which
I don't know.
the my friend Emily and Chastity, they're both mediums. They said that I have a squid entity attached to me, and it causes like all these like negative things in my life when they were like going through the list of negative things that it could cause, and I was like, that's interesting.
Oh, that's weird. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, did they tell you, like, did they give you a way to get rid of said entity?
yeah, they said like my healing journey and stuff is already causing it to detach, but it's
Perfect.
not fully detached. But
It's hanging on to hope.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, I don't know. It's odd and it's weird because I became friends with this woman, Lavender, and her logo for her podcast is a squid. I was like, what the hell is this? Am I supposed to stay away from this person or am I supposed to like be
Is your
friends with them?
like a conspiracy theory? Because like things are starting to add up in different ways and different pieces. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
my hmm,
It's
it was
it's Trey Bizarre. Trey Bizarre.
Lavender. Is she the squid? No, I'm just. She's not the squid. She's not the
No.
squid. Sorry,
No,
Lavender.
she's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart. I love her. Um, but
That's,
I thought it was interesting,
yeah,
and I
that's
brought it up to them because we had already recorded that episode and they told me about this and I was, in conversations with her and I never even realized her logo. And then I just was like, because I listened to her podcast too before they told me this too, and it didn't like dawn on me at that moment or at any moment. And then um I went into her show one morning. It was like freaking 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning when I was getting into my work truck. And, I was looking for a podcast and, and cause you can see like the redness in her logo and I clicked on it and I was like, that's a squid.
oh my gosh.
And I was like, they just told me this. So like instantly I messaged Emily and told her about it like right then and there. And I
He's the
mean,
squid. He's the squid. Just kidding.
yeah, yeah. It was it was so weird. It was pretty interesting. But now Lavender and I are pretty good friends, so maybe, maybe she's supposed to be in my life. Maybe that's just what that means. I don't know.
She's the good squid.
Yeah. 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 And I did
Also,
have
oh,
oh,
sorry.
sorry.
If you feel like you're hearing anything paranormal going on in my house, my husband and son are home and they're making quite a lot of noise. So I'm just letting you know it's not paranormal. It's just
Well,
them.
as of right now, I do not hear anything, and I
Okay,
just
great.
realized that I forgot to shut my space heater off because it does get cold upstairs. So I might hear that in when I'm editing with coming with my voice.
Yeah, I don't hear anything, but you know.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you've been on investigations. Like,
Mhm.
how many have you been on a lot?
Um, I mean, yes and no. I've been to the Axviliska house. I've been to
Ooh,
for my bachelorette. Let's see. I've been to where The Shining was. Oh my god, the Stanley
this,
Hotel.
yeah.
Oh my god, I've driven by Robert the Doll's house. I did not go to the museum because I was
Uh-huh.
pregnant and he's like super haunted and I didn't want to mess with that at all.
Yeah.
Like really bring some crap into your life, and so I was like, I do want to be here. I want to go and see him, but I'm not taking the chances. So we just his house and saw that. My dad, he's a construction worker. He's a project manager,
Yeah.
and he's done a lot of haunted things. He was working on an old school, and that's where I actually got my name on the spirit box. We didn't really have a whole lot happen there, but I went and investigated there a few times, which is pretty fun because like they're doing construction, so like they're kicking things up, which is makes it even more just like that much more. Actually, take
Oh
that.
yeah.
A few things happened in the old gym part of that. I'm not really remembering what, but I know that something happened in there. It was either like a light turned on or something to that effect, but that happened a while ago. There was my dad was working on an Indian reservation, not a reservation, but Indian college. I got a picture of I was walking out real quick and I was just snapping some photos, and there was a picture of a dude like standing in the window of like a door that we had just
Yeah.
been, and so that was interesting. Oh, I sat in the auditorium of that school too and did the whole Estes method or whatever. I love that one, by the way. That's like one of my favorites. And got some really good responses with that. I usually investigate with like my mom and either my friend Courtney or my friend Erin. That's typically who I go with. And so they were sitting out asking questions, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of where else Belvoir Winery. That's here in Kansas City, Missouri, which is where I'm from. I go to that one quite a bit. I've had quite a bit happen there. That's one of my favorites. And actually, if you catch me there and I've been drinking some wine, I will take you on a ghost tour because I've done that a time or two. So, anyhow, I'm not supposed to, but I've done it. So, anyhow,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Excuse me, but this is not actually a guide, so I'll take you on the real tour now. And everybody's just like, what the fuck?
We're just gonna go for. Oh, we don't have. Don't know if I'm gonna need. Do I need a thumbnail for this one? I don't know. Are we ready? If you love all things dark history and paranormal, you're in the right place. Hi, What was that? Do you hear that? I'm trying to record the introduction for my brand new YouTube channel, and there are noises coming from behind me, which there shouldn't be. Like, I'm completely home alone right now. It's a B&M chair. Cheap LEDs. It's just cardboard boxes. It's a puppy! Hi! And there's also a cat. There are no ghosts. I made it all up. I know, I got you with my good acting. Yeah, no, that's not what we're doing here. Because be real with me, have you ever found yourself 4 hours into a binge of a ghost hunting show with the shaking night vision camera footage and the wide-eyed ghost hunters screaming at their own shadows thinking, there is absolutely no way this is real? Yeah, me too. And if I'm being totally honest with you, I am more interested in the history of a haunted house and the origins of an urban legend and the actual lived experiences of people that have encountered paranormal activity firsthand, rather than watching a group of people filming themselves in a dark room. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some amazing ghost investigators, especially on YouTube. Like, some of the investigations that I've seen are amazing, and I do absolutely live for a Class 8 EVP or like a terrifying image of a shadow figure. But most of the time, the context and the history make the haunting so much more compelling for me. And if that sounds like a bit of you, then I think we've just become best friends. So you're going to want to hit that subscribe button, because every week we are going to be sitting down and swapping ghost stories like a good old sleepover, chatting about all things morbid, mysterious, and macabre. Have you got a paranormal experience that you'd like to share, or do you know of a haunted location that you'd like me to cover? Please leave me a comment or throw me a DM over on Instagram. You can find me at Don't Scare Claire. I absolutely love hearing all about your encounters with what lies beyond our realm. I cannot wait to get into all the spooky things with you, and maybe we might learn a thing or two about some history too. I know, I promise I won't be like your boring history teacher. But until next time, sleep safe. You showing everyone your butthole? Yeah. That's not stable. I would not lean on that. Okay, we're done.
I mean, someone actually came up to my friend and I, and they were like, so do you guys, like, know about this place? And we're like, oh, yeah. Like, come on, let's go. So we did.
That's awesome. That's fucking hilarious.
I love it.
I love the courage that alcohol gives you sometimes.
It gives me quite a bit of courage, actually. Like,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
like you're possessed with something.
Like, there's usually, like, I'm usually, like, a shyer person, whatever, until you get to know me. But that alcohol really brings out that person in me, you know?
Yeah, that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm more with alcohol. I'm more extroverted because normally, like on a normal day when I'm not doing the podcast, I'm definitely an introvert. Like I've said it so many times, and this podcast has actually pretty much like brought me out of my shell. But yeah, alcohol gives me that that confidence, and I'm more apt to tell you about my feelings about anything. Like if if it's somebody that I really like and I like being around and stuff, like if I don't like, I could go like a friend that I could go like years without ever being like, you know what, you're my friend, like I really care about you and stuff like that. Once I had alcohol, I'd be like, dude, I fucking love you. You're the fucking man. Like, I'm like, and when I experience that, and then I, watch people who get angry when they're drunk, like they get drunk and then they're just like instantly angry. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, I love everybody once I'm, under the influence.
I'm too nice. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm usually like a nice person to begin with, but like, I'm
Yeah.
friends with everybody when there's not a friend I don't know if I've been drinking. Like,
That's funny. That's funny. I had this, I went one of the last times, actually it was yeah, one of the last times I went clubbing, I guess. Clubbing. I was made to take my hat off first of all, which was fucking weird to me, and I was so mad about it. Because if I'm out and about and I'm wearing a hat, it's because I want to wear my hat, you know what I mean? I don't want to hold it in my hand, you
well, yeah.
know, which is what I had to do when I went into this club, so I already didn't want to be there.
Ew, I hate that.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend was so excited that it was our first time ever going out together and stuff like that. So this was like years ago now. But she was so excited that she got to dance and this and that, 'cause she was definitely a dancer, and that's, that was her freaking like spirit animal, was dancing, I guess. But no, I'm stand yeah,
I love.
I'm standing in line to get us drinks, and there's this I just feel like this fucking like caress down my arm, and I turn my head, and it's this chick in this like skin tight little fucking red dress, and she's just like, I love your gauges. And I was just like, and I hadn't had any alcohol yet, and I was just like, thanks. And then I turned my back on her, and fucking she like my buddy was because we were out with my buddy and his girlfriend too. And my buddy
Mhm.
like watched it happen, and he's like, she just like stared at you like you were not like you were supposed to give her attention and stuff like that after you turned around. I was like, well, first of all, like because if I had been drinking, I wouldn't have given her like attention, but I would have like been nice about it, you know what I mean? Where
Right.
I wasn't drinking, I didn't want to talk, and
Right.
because I had my girlfriend right there.
Mm-hmm. You're like, this is awkward. Can you not? Like that would be great.
Yeah, I was just like, ah. And I
You
do
know,
that too, like in like regular circumstances, like in a store, um, where
see,
like I get super. Oh, this is something that new that I started too recently, is when somebody reaches over me in the store, I go, excuse me, works, like, and I'll stare at them.
what do they do? I'm actually genuinely curious because do you know the number of times that I have wanted to say that, but I'm too nice because I'm just like I don't want to start the conflict. It's like what do people do?
Yeah. So this one guy, um, I was in Walmart, and I think I was by myself, and I was just looking at the produce because I was trying to um, figure out what I wanted for vegetables for the week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing there, and I grabbed one bag of carrots, and I was like, "Are these carrots better than these carrots?" Kind of thing. Where I'm looking at the labels and stuff like that, like what farm did
Yeah.
it come from and all this shit. And I think there was broccoli like right in front of me, and this guy like so much he like reaches out, his arm comes across in front of me, and his hand, so like the broccoli's right here, and I have the bags of fucking carrots, and he like grabs it, and I just stare at him, and I go, excuse me, works. And then I turned around, put one carrot back, and then the other carrot into carrot bag into my cart. And like I just kind of like turned, but not really. And then he reached for another thing and goes, "Excuse me." And I was just like, that was fucking so
Now
dumb.
he's
And
being a
then another one that I remember, my kids when me and my kids went down to Florida, we went to Universal, and we're in the gift shop, and I don't know if this guy spoke English or not. Like he could have been like European or something, like he didn't and not like understand, or because he looked very touristy,
okay.
which I know other people, like people from America, like will go to Florida to go to Paramount Studios, and still look touristy. So like he could have been just, an average American too. But so I'm
Mhm.
standing, there's a rack behind me. My son is um right next to me, and I'm looking at this shirt, or I'm pretty sure it's a shirt, and I'm like reading it and stuff like that, and I just feel like this bump against me, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And then I feel it again, and I turn around, and because there's like so this is my back, and this is my back, and this is the rack behind me. This is how much space this guy had to get between me and this rack, and he forced himself through without saying a word. And I just turned around, I go, and I yelled it, and I go, excuse, well, not yelled, but I elevated my voice so like people around heard, and I go, excuse me, fucking works. And like people stopped and stared. He didn't even acknowledge that I said anything to him. He just walked.
Yeah, yeah. People can be frustrating, honestly.
Yeah, so either they, in my experience, they'll either say nothing, or they'll
Mhm.
just say, "Oh, excuse me."
They'll just be an ass. Either way, they're just being an ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that
It's
first guy was saying, "Oh, excuse me," but he was doing it to be an ass.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And
But
and then like holding doors open for people nowadays, like they'll just not even acknowledge that you're holding the door open for them, which, I'm not holding the door for a thank you. I'm holding the door to be nice. So getting a thank you is a nice thing to say.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I've always wondered because, like, I don't know. I mean, I was taught manners. I was taught manners as a kid, but I also wonder too if like people just genuinely don't say anything anymore because I don't know if it's like social media or like people just don't know how to interact anymore, or if like they're just we're just such like a not necessarily shy society, but we just don't know how to like act as people anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for like I don't know. I'm the person who smiles at people when I walk through the grocery store. I don't know you. I talk to random strangers because I don't know, people like to just come up and talk to me. Like, that's the person that I am, and I'll like listen to your whole life story, and I'm okay with that. But I'm also like, on the flip side, I'm also like shy in other ways. So it's like, I don't know. I want to know where like the kindness went. You know what I mean? Like, and not everybody's like that. Not
No.
everybody's like that. There are people out there that are like that, obviously, and like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just interesting, you know? It's just
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, it's, you can't you can't attribute malice to somebody when you can attribute it to incompetence, where like they're living their life, they're just going through the motions, they're not
Right.
necessarily paying attention to you.
Exactly. And like
So
I always have to understand too, like, everybody has a bad day. Like, there are times when I will like run through the store because I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to look at anybody. I don't want to see anybody. Like, don't talk to me. But you know, I'm still kind and polite. Like, thank you, excuse me, whatever. But I still am like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, but you can still be kind. I don't know. I've like, everybody has bad days, but you can still be kind. It's I understand it's harder to be kind because you're just like, maybe you're really mad and I don't know, pissed off at the world, but it might help make you feel better just by being kind to somebody, you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Jensen, what do you have planned next for you other than going to Italy?
I don't know. I'm kind of living really just day by day.
I feel you.
I want to do more with my podcast. I want to try to reach out more and like be more involved, but seeing as I'm the type of person who just kind of randomly disappears every now and then, I still genuinely, it's not that I don't love what I'm doing. I genuinely, life gets the better of me, and that's always going to take priority over, unfortunately, this.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really invested in this. No, if you randomly see me on Instagram and I'm liking a whole bunch of stuff or I'm doing that, it's because I have the time to do it. So just, whatever. If you see me add a bunch of stories, it's because I'm sitting there and I have a moment just to breathe and like, check back up on things and whatnot. So really, I don't know. I'm kind of just living day by day, seeing where life takes me. I have a plan, but life doesn't always go to plan. So I can't ever be too upset about that. So I just kind of have to, live day by day.
I hear you. I hear you. Do you ever like have you ever thought about recording a few episodes at once so that you
So
have
that's actually how I started.
okay.
I started recording like multiple, like I would have like a couple months in advance done. So that way, but it hasn't worked out that way lately just because, like I said, like life has gotten to me, and it's totally fine. Like, I'm not upset about it, but I guess that is the one thing I would like to try to do more of this year, is get back into my routine of pre-recording a whole bunch, so that way I don't like to miss. Like, as much as I'm like, yay, I get to go see my sister potentially, I'm also like, dang, I might actually miss a few episodes this time around, and I'm kind of sad about that. Like, I don't want everybody hanging, but it is what it is. Life happens, what are you gonna do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Life be lifing.
All the time, and sometimes
Mm.
a little too hard. I'm like, can we slow it down a little bit, please? Give me a break.
Yeah. So are you finding fulfillment in doing your podcast? Like you find not only like obviously being a mother is fulfilling in so many ways,
Mm.
also a little stressful and frustrating. I know I've been there. I'm not a mother, but
Okay, but
I am a parent and
yeah.
right, and it's still the same parent problems.
Mm-hmm.
But do you find, fulfillment in what you do with your podcast and all that?
Oh yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it, and I don't know. I I've never, what do I want to say? Because hate is such a strong word. I've never really like disliked what I'm doing. Like, it's always been fun to like. I'm like, ooh, okay, I can't wait to put this out because it's such a great story, and I like behind the scenes. I'm like super giddy about things. I'm like, oh my god, I love this story so much. Like, I hope I've done it justice. Like, anybody who's like messaged back and they were like, oh, my story, like, you did a really great job, whatever. I'm like, okay, great. Like I really like hearing that, because it just makes me feel even better, because I'm like, okay, good, I did your story good. Like, that's all I really hope, because it was really good, and I really wanted to make sure I did it justice. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Nice, nice.
So,
So, to wrap it up, I guess,
mm,
if you don't mind letting the good people know about your where they can find you and where they can find your podcast.
really, anywhere that you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the other ones in between. You can even go to my website. It's anoddworldafterall.com. Boom, it's right there on the homepage. But then you can also scroll down, and there are other little links that you can click on to, if you have a specific one, that you prefer. Um, I'm even on YouTube. You won't see
Are
my
you?
you won't see my face. on, like I was telling you earlier, this is like my first interview, so here's my face. But
Well,
no,
there's a first time for everything.
there is. Yes, I am on YouTube too, for those who just like want to listen on there too. So I'm wherever. I'm wherever.
Nice, nice. Well, Jensen, it was a lot of fun talking to you. It's a little bit different than I do most of them, but I think it was a good decision because I decided to go this route just to like change it up, be like keeping them on their toes. Where I started with the conspiracy stuff first this time instead of waiting until after the paranormal experiences to bring up the conspiracies. So.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. So this was a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you have a good night. And time is, I think, the most important currency that we have right now. And I, I mean, you just spent almost, I mean, it's an hour and a half of recording, but there was time on before we
Yeah.
started recording, so we're fairly close to 2 hours. We're, you know
Mm-hmm.
of just chit chatting. So like that's a good portion of your time that you could have been doing your own podcast. So I appreciate you coming on here. If I didn't have people like you to talk to, I'd just be talking to my damn self, and I don't know if that'd be as entertaining.
I mean, that's kind of what I do. So
That is what you do. That is what you do. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You got me there, friend. You got me there. Well, guys, that is the show. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope you check out Jensen's podcast. It's an odd world. After all, I enjoy it, and I definitely think you will. Um, but other than that, like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. That is the best way to help this show grow. If you have a story that you want to be read, definitely email Jensen or contact her on Instagram or Facebook. But if you want to be featured on this show, it is where the weird ones are at gmail.com. You can find the merch at where the weird ones are podcast.com. There's a link in there to the store. So with that, everybody, question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky. When the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day, make a wish.